For this flow, we are going to start in child's pose. So knees a little bit wider, toe tips touching. Take your forehead down to the mat. Your arms can be forward or they can be resting by your hips. It doesn't matter. We're just going to start in this position with a few deep breaths. So we intentionally keep the knees wide so that our belly can kind of fall directly between the thighs and it has room to expand. Take this time to clear your mind of anything that's happened today or anything that you have planned, and just try to be present here on your mat. On your next breath, lift your chest, bringing it up to tabletop. Shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Inhale, lift the chest, stick your butt out, lift your chin. And then on the exhale, round your back, tuck your butt under, tuck your chin to your chest, and switch. Cat and cow. Come back to a neutral spine. And tuck your toes under and lift your hips up towards the ceiling, but keeping your knees bent. Bringing the biceps to frame the ears. We want to try to stick your butt out as far as you can. As you lift it up towards the ceiling, press your chest towards your thighs for a downward facing dog with bent knees. We're going to make this a little dynamic before we stay. So inhale, tap the knees down to tabletop. Exhale, lift the hips back and up, keeping the knees bent. Again, inhale, tabletop, knees tap. Exhale, biceps frame the ears. Lift the sit bones up. One more time. Inhale. Exhale, lift the hips, pause, and this down dog, knees bent. Straighten out the right knee, pressing the heel down towards the mat, keeping the left one bent. And then switch, alternating back and forth. Feeling a nice stretch in the lower leg. One more on each side. Drop it back down to your knees and lift your chest. So we're going to tuck the toes under, your big toe tucked under. You can keep the hands on the mat and then start to sit your hips back towards your heels, stretching that big toe and the muscles on the bottom of the foot. Now, if this is uncomfortable, you can stay here and ease yourself into it. If you're ready for a little more, keep those toes tucked, bring the hands to the thighs, and sit up tall. Very uncomfortable to the toe, just breathe, we're not going to be here for long. And release, hands down, pat out the feet. From this position, step the right foot forward, so we're in a half kneeling, hip over knee, shoulders over hips. Squeeze the left side of your glute, pull the butt under, right hand on the thigh, left arm reaches up. Let's add the right arm, biceps frame the ears. Take those hips and shift forward slightly, feeling a stretch here to the left hip flexor, keeping the glutes engaged. Tuck the left toes under and lift the back knee for a high crescent lunge. Both hands frame the front foot. Let's get a little dynamic movement here to the front hamstring. Straighten and bend the knee. Pause with the right knee bent. Keep the left hand down. Twist to the right. Reach the right hand towards the ceiling for a rotation. Stay active in the legs here, so we don't want to kind of sink and fall down to the floor. We want to stay active through the hips, so lift the hips up, pull the right knee out, Stabilize and support yourself. Lower the right hand down, lift the chest, return to that high crescent lunge. Lower the left knee. Lower the arms, and let's return back for a second set of that toe stretch. Tuck the big toes under, gently sit back. It's a little bit warmed up. Now it should feel less intense, but if you still need to keep the hands down, feel free. Switch sides, left foot comes forward, half kneeling. Squeeze the right glute, shoulders over hips, hips over knees. Reach the arms up. Allow those hips to come forward slightly, intensifying the stretch in the front. Tuck the right toes under, lift the knee, high crescent lunge. Both hands frame the left foot. Bend and straighten that left knee. Pause here with the left knee bent, right hand down, twist, left arm up. Again, we want to be active, pressing through the right hand, pressing through the foot, keeping the weight on the outer edge of the foot, pulling the knee out, engaging the hip muscles, not just sinking and collapsing into this lunge twist. Lower the hand, return back to your high crescent lunge. Lower the right knee. And return back to tabletop. Bring the left knee down, hands on the mat. Tuck the toes under, lift the hips, downward facing dog. This time, attempt to press those knees back and drop the heels. One more time, let's pedal out the feet. Pause, separate the feet hip distance, and then walk your hands back to meet your feet. Soften your knees, grab opposite elbows, and just hang heavy. Release your elbows, keep a soft bend in the knee, lift your chest, stick your butt out. And then once you're here, you have a nice flat back, attempt to press the knees back for a really nice isolated hamstring stretch. Soften the knees, round the spine, grab opposite elbows, hang heavy. Hands to shins, lift the chest, halfway lift, press the knees back, one more time. And then relax, fold. Walk the hands out to a high plank. Step the left foot forward outside the left hand. Allow the right knee to come down for a lizard lunge. You can stay on your hands here, or you can lower down to the elbows. If you're on your elbows, bring it back up to your hands. Start to engage the right hamstring by bending and straightening the right knee. So we're working towards a quad stretch here. So pause the next time you bend your knee. Take your left hand, reach it around, grab the foot. If this is not accessible to you, just keep bending and straightening the knee until you feel something that you can touch. Release. Take the left foot step back to your high plank. Let's take a break in a downward facing dog. Step the right foot forward outside the right hand. Lower the knee for a lizard lunge. Stay on the hands or lower down to your elbows. Squeeze the left side, butt cheek. Bring the hands to the mat. Bend and straighten the left knee. And then after a few reps here, reach around with the right hand. If the foot's accessible, grab it, bind for a quad stretch. Release. Step the right foot back to a high plank. Drop the knees, tabletop position. Bring the right foot through to a half kneeling position. We're going to return to our high crescent. Reach the arms up, tuck the left toes, lift the left knee. And then we're going to open it up into a warrior two. So the blade of the back foot is parallel with the rear edge of the mat. And your right knee is in line with your big toe. So a lazy right hip is going to allow that right knee to cave in, compressing our knee. But we want to activate the outer hip muscles, pull the knee out towards the pinky toe, root through the outer edge towards the pinky toe of the left foot to keep the arch of the foot off the mat. Lift the arms and hold. Left arm down, right arm up. Side angle, take the right elbow to the knee, not dumping into it, just resting, left hand towards the ceiling. Both hands frame the front foot for that low lunge. Step the left foot forward, pause here in a forward fold. And then we'll just step the right foot back to switch to the other side for our high crescent lunge. Open up for warrior two. Blade of the foot parallel to the back of the mat. Lift the inner ankle so the weight's towards the outside of the foot. Engage the hip muscles here, pulling the knee out towards the pinky toe. Right arm down, left arm up. Side angle, elbow to knee, right fingertips reach towards the ceiling. Again, stay strong in the hip. Use the core, use the torso to keep yourself lifted and not dumping here into this pose. Spin it around for a left side lunge. Step the left foot back to meet the right, downward facing dog. Walk the feet halfway up to the center of the mat. Walk the hands back to meet your feet. And then one vertebrae at a time, roll it up. I will turn to face you. Tree pose for a little hip stability. Take the sole of the right foot and place it either on the left calf or the inner thigh. We want to avoid putting it right on the knee joint. So one of the main purposes of this pose is stability and strength of the hips. So if this standing left leg is going to be lazy, or the hip is going to shoot out to the side, call that like a sassy hip. We do not want sassy hips. So tighten this up, bring it back to the center, look down at your foot. We want to ground the big toe into the mat. That's going to engage the muscles at the bottom of the foot. So we have stability from the top down and the bottom up. You can have the hands on the hips, hands at heart center. If you want more, you can add your arms up. If you're really struggling to keep the left foot engaged and the left hip engaged, then this balance might be too much, and you can just place the foot on the floor here for this right big toe for a little extra support. Release, bring it back to standing, and we'll switch to the other side. Again, tighten up through the glute, level the shoulders over the hips, pull the knee back, press the big toe into the floor, feel that arch lift away from the floor, and then hold. Release your tree pose. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, take a big forward fold all the way down. One vertebra at a time, roll it up. One more deep breath in. Exhale, hands to heart center. Thank you for flowing with me today. Crush the rest of your workouts, crush your runs, rest, recover, and fuel with healthy food. See you next time.